You're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening.
What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. We're going to be diving in today on my biggest, absolute biggest, like stupid biggest, 2024 learning lessons throughout the year. And so I got a couple big ones for you. Some moments, to say the least, not too, it wasn't a good season. It wasn't a good in the moment feeling, to say the least. However, it was exactly what I needed. See, when you're praying for something of like getting, growth and punching through the ceiling and getting to the new floor, there's going to be some pain. There's going to be some growth. There's going to be some turbulence, and there's going to be some pushback. And it really just comes down to, if you're asking for it, be ready for it. And most of us don't realize these things because you only know what you know, right? You only know as much as you know. If you knew how to make, let's say, $1 million a month, then you would already be there. But instead, you're trying to figure it out. You have goals that you're setting and so forth. That was an example. But this is something that I believe I've learned heavily from, like extremely heavy. And because the pain and the frustration, and to be very blunt with you and honest, fear that kicked in, and I allowed it to stick around for too long. So I'm going to dive into all that. I'm also going to talk about our live in-person event here at the end of this. I'm going to talk about it, but it's going to be April 3rd and 4th. You're going to want to get your tickets to it. It is the absolute first time ever that we are giving open access to the public, which it's usually only for fulfillment for members. And it really started off with just our mastermind members, our inner circle, the premium, cream of the crop. And we've always done an amazing job of just making the most incredible atmosphere, event, breakthroughs, testimonies, crying, and people getting engaged, and just wild stuff, right? In incredible locations. This year, we're taking it to the next level, but we also want outsiders, the public, to be able to experience it as well. So I'll tell you more about that and how you can get your tickets at the very end. So make sure that if you haven't already, because this is the podcast, that you are subscribing. You hit that subscribe button, you smash the like button or the love, the little hearts or whatever. I don't know, all the different things out there. But make sure you are hitting that subscribe button so you get the newest notification every single Monday. And then don't stop there. Make sure you hit the review button. Okay, leave that 5-star review and share some love. Okay, sharing is caring. Tag somebody in this and needs to see it. Business partner, friend, family, significant other, you name it. They know it. You know it. But we're not doing this for just hugs and kisses here. We want to actually impact people. So real estate has totally changed my life. You guys know my story. I grew up a screw up, messed up, and all types of mistakes I've made. I'm the poster child of making mistakes. However, real estate changed my life. Credit was the catalyst to do it. And God, above all of it, has been able to give me the grace and the wisdom and perseverance to push through all of this and kind of guide the direction for me. So I just want to give back and be able to show you guys how, even if you got a fraction of what I've been able to accomplish over the years, I would count that as a huge win and a huge blessing. And so with that being said, let's dive into some updates, because that has been near and dear on my heart. There's been a bunch of things that we've been rocking and rolling on. And I want to chat with you guys about it today. So as you may know, you may not, I don't know. We're going to find out, but it might be brand new news to you. But so last year during the summer, I read this book, and this damn book, always books. They start changing your lives. I promise you. All the stuff that we go to school for, if you think about it, when you're young, going to school, you got a teacher that's explaining a book. They make you read the book, and then you guys talk about the book. You take a test on the book. It's crazy. And when I was younger, I hated reading, and I did not like books. I didn't like the education. It was pounding down on me. Numbers stuck out to me. I like numbers. I like money, right? But I like counting things. And so anyway, at the end of the day, like there's so much freaking wisdom in books. And the more that you get into soaking up that knowledge, the more that you're reading, it's like you're putting that mind to work, and you're pushing towards something bigger and better. And there's just so many breakthroughs through it. And I can't tell you how much I've grown fond of it over the years because of the blessings that come from it, really. And even just praying before you read a book to see like, hey, God, like pull out something in here that I need to see to be able to give me the breakthroughs that I need, or speak to me as I'm going through here. But anyway, so I was reading this book, and this book, I'll tell you about it in a second. But overall, what we decided to do was start selling off our Ohio properties. In addition to that, get rid of the Airbnb properties, or not get rid of them, but start outsourcing them. Okay. Because I have always handled our long-term rentals over in Ohio and other states. And it's always been like, it's been great for cash flow. It's been great we've owned some of these properties for like 10 years. And it was great starting out. Okay. I do not want to get this taken the wrong way. Incredible. In fact, it helped me learn, cut my teeth on it, be able to afford it, get in there, have no money into the deals, like the trials and errors, the certain price points that made me feel more comfortable, but still scary as hell. The price points that I could afford on my credit cards where my limits were lower, and like trying to figure out this game, right? In addition to just being able to, quit the job and go all in on something that I care more about, and educating people on credit, as well as taking down bigger deals in San Diego and other states. And so doing this, it was like a tough decision at first because to get rid of these, because we've had it kind of on autopilot, but there's been seasons that we've had like 6 months of certain vacancies. And it's just because I don't care. It doesn't bring in enough in comparison to other adventures that I'm working on out here for real estate in San Diego, or even just our business with Credit Counts Elite. I'd rather put my time and attention. It's only one of me. Like I'd rather do certain things over here. And it just doesn't make sense anymore. It's a good problem to have, but it's still like, it started to become a problem, right? So I read the book, 10X is better than 2X. Okay. And just to sum it all up for you, there's a lot of good examples and storytelling in that book. But what the book means is really, I can sum it up to you in 2 seconds here, is the 80-20 rule. Okay, the 80-20 rule, if you don't know, it's really just like the time and energy that you put towards, 80% of all that energy all over the place usually produces like 20% of it produces the big like meat and potatoes, right? And so you're getting distracted with all this other stuff. If you start cutting out that 80% and get down to the meat and potatoes, then eventually you keep doing that. You keep leveling up. And so I hope I'm describing the 80-20 rule right. If not, you Google it and figure it out. But I know the emphasis of it. Let's just say that. But at the end of the day, I realized the stuff over in Ohio, while it was great in the beginning season, in this season of my life, it's not really needed. And it would be better just to not have to worry mentally, not even put 5 hours a month, if I was even putting any, or the neglect from it, right? It would be better to give it to a beginner investor or somebody that just wants that time, energy, and effort, that type of responsibility, instead of me getting distracted with something over there, 3,000 miles away and a dozen properties or so. Not needed. And so we decided after the summer, like, cool, we're going to clean some of these up and then start listing them. And so we tried, offering it to some new people or some wholesalers, or just quick and easy, quick, dirty type of thing, like discounted, get it out of my face, run with it, make money. Because I didn't care. I didn't care about the profits, really. At this point, we cleaned them up a little bit. We listed them, and now we're actually starting to sell more of them. And we sold another one 2 days before Christmas on the 23rd, which was great. And then we just sold one the other day on the 31st, which was great. And that was a triplex that could have been converted into a fourplex. I always wanted to do it. But again, no time and energy. And it was just vacant, all of it. Like eventually once the tenants started moving out, I just didn't care. And so while I had great interest rates on it, while I had great, monthly payments, and while when it is rented out and all the properties were rented out, like they just cash flowed crazy and bringing in, close to 10K a month without me doing anything. And it was always like my backup plan, just in case, just in case if this thing, for the longest time, for years, I was just like, just in case if whatever we're doing over here, honey, if it doesn't work out, we could live off of this because it brings in, more than enough for the average income nationwide. However, as our lifestyle starts growing too, it starts, I just did payroll and that came out to like 80 grand. So it's a little different, but anyway, with that being said, it was just one of those things that very grateful to start being able to get rid of some of these properties and get good numbers. And so we got rid of another one yesterday. We are in negotiations with a buyer that's trying to pick up 3 of them, trying to nickel and dime me a little bit, not too much, but trying to get 20% off my offer 10 right from the start afterwards. But it's something that I don't care, and we want to get some of these removed and kind of bless somebody else, which we're excited for. Also just got done doing a renovation on another triplex that we have over in Ohio that we are excited to start listing probably sometime next week as well, and get some pictures in and all that fun stuff. So a lot of fun things in the mix. And again, why, everybody kept on asking me, Brandon, why would you sell this stuff if it's cash flowing? Like, can't you just get a property manager or somebody to care about it and just, do those things? Like, we've tried it. We've done these things. Again, it still is going to take, if it takes 1 hour from me, it's too much, in my opinion. And I know that sounds crazy, but even if it takes 1, 2, 3 hours per month, it's just a distraction. And for you to actually truly level up and do, focus on that 80-20 rule, it is going to help get rid of the distractions and focus more time and energy on the things that are working, which leads me to my next thing. It's the Airbnb stuff. So Airbnb, right when I decided after reading the book, I was like, and it's a good book too, but to sum it all up, it's the 80-20 rule. But if you want to read the book, it will give better examples and storytelling behind it that will make a little bit more sense that, 10x is easier than 2x. And so once I realized, cool, like after reading it, I'm getting rid of the Ohio properties. Done. Next, we decided for Jennifer, like, because she's been managing, her customer support and so forth. She's great with Airbnb stuff, and she's systemized that and have been running that with her and the cleaners and the other management and so forth, and just kind of dialing things in. It's been good. But I've also seen her in certain stressful situations or in the middle of the night handling certain things, and I'm just like, man, like I don't, or while we're traveling, trying to handle things, and it's like, I don't want that for her. I don't want that for her. And she doesn't want it. And so that stress and things like that, we don't need that. So therefore, instead of being like a 1 or 2 man band type of thing, we decided we're going to outsource that as well. And so we found a good friend of ours that just crushes it in another mastermind. No surprise, right? Like your community, your network is your net worth. And so being in masterminds, I can't stress it out enough, because those communities, those circles, you're going to find people that like, and trust. And, we've been in this group with this individual for the last 3-4 years. And it's like, we know his character. We know he's a good person. We know he's working his butt off. We know he's been doing it a long time. We know he's thriving with it. We know other people that he's serving. So it was like, it's a no-brainer. And he's doing better. He's crushing it. And so, once we start outsourcing that, it's been good. And we're excited to see what it looks like throughout the summer and then the winter next year. And a couple pieces to it is identifying that the experiences for Airbnbs that we really weren't capitalizing off of properly. Because, and if you think about it, because I started thinking about it and talking over a cigar the other day with one of my good friends, Zach, and it was really ironic to me, but Jen and I don't stay in Airbnbs that much. We have a Marriott pass. We typically take action on that, right? Because we'll get it for like a free hotel and a nice one with our status, or it will be like heavily discounted, like 90% off. So why not do that? However, we have rented out kind of like not a mansion, if you will, but like a big, really nice couple $1 million home for Airbnb that has like all the amenities for our leadership team when they come in and so forth for, EOS or just business and so forth. And so we've done that a few times and it's always like a fun experience. And we will always go with a place that is an incredible experience. We're not trying to rent some dingy little place or something, just for the price. Even if the price is like the same as all the others, it's like, I want the one with all the games or with all the amenities or like the hot tub, the pool, like things like that. And so you may not have a location, like a property that has a pool, which is okay, but maybe you can buy a hot tub. Maybe you could buy some video games and like some random things, some arcade games, or maybe you could just make an experience that is, people really aren't going to use it that often, but if they do, they will more likely pick that location, okay, over the one that doesn't have it. Especially if the price point is similar, just for the wow factor, just for the experience of like, look what we have. And then you go over, you play it for 2 seconds, you get a couple laughs and giggles in, take a couple pictures or whatever. It's like boom, 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 fun. And then afterwards you move on to just, exploring or leaving the house and doing other things, right? It's just part of the process. But I think experiences we've learned from outsourcing has been something to really capitalize on and to start actually focusing on. And that's what, this company does very well. And I'm excited to give it a try over time. And what's cool is we literally have 5 new Airbnbs that we are going to be launching here in addition to all of our others that they're working on, but 5 new ones that are going to be coming to market here in the next like 2 weeks, which is exciting and also crazy. Like we have a bunch. When I say a bunch, like my living room right now is filled like to the damn ceiling with all these boxes. It's wild. And this is just to fill up like 1 or 2 units. Just crazy stuff. And it's already filled basically, but just all the knick-knack, paddywhack stuff. It's crazy. So anyway, fun times. Excited to outsource this stuff and just move those boxes over there, have the guys do their thing. And then Jen and I can go back to just focusing on Credit Accounts Elite and some of our real estate projects out here in San Diego. But yeah, just kind of fun times and excited to just get some of these things off our hands. And again, just kind of level up, right? And that's the exciting stuff. Now, let's talk about another update. Our new home, which we'll label it our dream home. Now, what's funny about this, the actual story behind the dream home is this. It's a funny story, but it's also like a sad story, and that it's also like a aha moment of like my biggest lesson in 2024 completely. And so the dream home is this. Jen and I last year, the first 6 months for business last year in 2024 was incredible. Just like crushing it, dominating, growing each and every single month, nonstop. And we're on this high of like, yes, we're doing this, we're climbing, we're scaling, we're going at it, and we're just gonna keep pumping this thing. And so we decided like, hey, as our goal was once we get married, which was towards the end of 2024, we would start looking for a home in 2025, right? That was our goal. But then in the middle of the summer or the beginning of summer, we were like, you know what? Why don't we just start looking for a home now? Because maybe it's going to take a while. And what we came to find and learn about ourselves is that we are very quick decision makers and we don't waste any time at all. And so the very first one we looked at, we were like, yep, we'll put it down an offer. And then once that did work out, like the second, the third, the fourth, like all of them, we were like, yeah, we'll put down an offer. Now, with this being said, we weren't looking at like little dingy homes. We were looking at $5.5 to $7.4 million homes. And so when you're looking at that price point, everything looks good. It's like, yes, there's some pros and cons to it. And like, does it really fit with the feng shui and you and all these other things? But you're like, yeah, I like it. This is beautiful. This is nice. I like these views. I'm cool with it. And so a lot of just funny pieces to it. But realistically, it was out of our price point. It was out of our range. And it was, we finally got one locked in place in at the beginning of August, I think. That was 5.7 million. And it was beautiful, like beautiful. We called it our dream home, and we were praying over it. We were declaring things, but it was contingent on the seller finding their next home. And they weren't that motivated. It was an off-market type of deal just through agents that we knew. And so it wasn't listed. We got a hell of a deal. It was they wanted to list it for 6.2. They countered originally at like 6.8. Or no, sorry, 5.9 or something, 5.8, and then we finally locked it in at 5.7 with like 75K credit back and all this other stuff. But they kept on asking for extensions, and at the time we were like, good, because we need extensions too. We need to find this capital. We need to keep running this business and keep saving up some money so we can get this down payment, because what we came to learn is like when you're doing that high of a loan, a jumbo loan, it's you get into a certain price point and a certain down payment that they require. And you're talking with really just a few of the big banks that offer a wealth management division. And they're going to want anywhere from typically 25 to 35% down. And we found a couple that were right around that 20%, which was like a home run and just amazing. But there was a lot of contingencies to it, and they want you to move all your money over and do solely business with them. But you also, in some cases, you need to have like $1 million in the account afterwards, or $500,000. But they also get you these incredible internal rates of like 5 or even 4% interest rates, when the average public's paying like 7 or 7.5 interest rate. It's crazy. And so big learning lessons of like, wow, that's awesome. Like things you can do, and just creative different structures behind it. But it's really meant for like, you would need in those circumstances, those numbers I'm talking about, like 2 million to 3 million plus to be able to make this happen. And then the reserves, instead of the average typical 6 months, in most cases lenders want to see, these guys might want to see up to 2 years worth of reserves. But another cool thing is that if the rates go lower at any point and you want to do a refinance, they kind of just do a modification on that. They'll just drop the interest rate for $1,500, or they'll just waive it and just do it for you anyway, just because they want to keep that high net worth individual, their business internally, and they keep those big loans to like, they house it themselves and service it themselves. So pretty cool stuff. It was like very eye-opening. They'll be like, wow, this is like some wealthy wealth stuff. I like it. But it was out of our price range. It was, the business started actually struggling right around those times. We weren't figuring it out. It was kind of wild. And I kept on trying to figure out ways. I kept on hustling and figure out different ways, and they kept on testing and trying all these things. And then we found out like, okay, well, during the summer for marketing online, it can get, people start taking a break a little bit, and it's just a little bit slower during the summer. People are traveling, right? I was like, okay, I hate that excuse, but I talked around and listened up, and it's like, that is a common thing. Numbers go down during the summer. Okay. And then number 2, we started finding out like, well, it's an election year. And during the election year, like you're fighting against all the politicians, their ads. And I learned that there's certain ways that with ads, you can either guide somebody to just view and watch, or to take action. And a lot of politicians are just paying a lot of money, billions of dollars, to be able to just get you to watch. And so your ad costs are going up. You're paying to try to get somebody to do not just watch, but to take action and click the button, and it's all these different things. And I'm just like, but why are numbers going down each month? It's weird. And we hired on a CFO. We were hiring on all these people. We hired on a COO. We were destined for growth. Like that was 2024 was the year of growth. That's what we were praying on. That's what we were declaring. That's what we were pushing for. But understand this, when you are praying for big things like that, when you're praying for big change, for big just growth in general, like understand that there's going to be pain with that growth. Just like the gym, like when you're trying to build your arms or your muscles, it's like you're going to stretch it out and it's going to hurt. It's going to be sore. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's the first time doing it. You've never done it before. It's like it's some tough pieces. So it was a lot of learning lessons. It was people that we tested and tried out that didn't work out, and poor leadership from myself and other members within our leadership team of not guiding properly or not cutting things off, not leading by example, not showing exactly how things needed to be done SOP wise and so forth. And so many other obstacles between it. We also helped out several other families, my family, Jen's family, and all these other moving pieces in between. And then I also invested heavily into several other individuals that I believed would pay me back on certain things, and they didn't for one reason or another. And so we had to begin like legal actions and so forth. And it's just a nightmare in so many different ways. Just a lot of money going out in all these different directions, business, and kind of going down in certain ways. And full transparency, my solution behind all of it was, let's just pump money in. And so what I learned, my biggest moment, and what's sad to realize this is that we had our EOS meeting in the beginning of December. All of our leadership 2-day annual meeting came in place. It was incredible. We deep dived and solved like 95 different issues, wild stuff. It like really prepared for the whole next year for 2025. It was incredible. The culture was strong. Everything was just top notch. Loved it. Right afterwards, I started having these, not like epiphany, but God was speaking to me and giving me like fresh downloads of like, there's all these things that are actually bigger issues that we didn't talk about here. And this is what it is. So once I started running these numbers, I realized like, we have a burn rate of almost 200K per month and we're going down each month. We only have a few months left. It was like, yikes. And we have equity. We have we have millions in equity. We have millions in credit lines. But it was moments of like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do? And fear, honestly, fear took over. And embarrassed to say that, but at the same time, not, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. But I should have went into prayer right away. And instead, I let fear take over. We did a full week fasting, and prayed into things. It was the first time that I've done fasting multiple times, but it was the first time that we weren't praying for something specifically. We were just praying to get more intimate with God, to get closer with God. And we heard this story at church that basically like a big, like for this example, let me just share with you the story. A big burly man, family at home, a big burly man, always just, very manly dude, and works, doesn't talk too much, watches TV when he is home after a long day and so forth. Got 3 boys and then the wife, and the youngest, smallest, little redhead stepson type of thing of the crowd, the one that's different, the skinny kid, just kept on asking, begging his dad, hey, I want a BB gun for Christmas. Like, please get me one. Just kept on begging him for like 3-4 months and just kept on like diving into it. And the dad just kept on shooing him off. And like Christmas went by, and a couple weeks later, and he just, the kid's disappointed and depressed and just like, man, the dad like doesn't love me, doesn't care. Like, why he could afford it. Why can't he just do it? And dad would always just shoo him off. Well, the mom talked to the kid to the side and was like, hey, what you're going to want to do is this. Go up to him, sit on the couch when he's after dinner and he's sitting on the couch. Go up to him, put your head on his shoulder, and then just rub on his ear. And don't say anything, just rub on his ear and just like cuddle with him for a second. And the boy was like, what? Heck no, mom, like, not going to do that. That's not happening. I'm going to get punched by my dad. Like, he's going to sock me. He's not that touchy-feely kind of guy. Like, you're kidding me, right? You got to give me something better than that, mom. And so basically, the mom, like, she's always, the mother always got the touch, right? And so she's like, hey, this is what you're going to do. And she kept on telling him for a couple days and like, come on, go do it. And then finally the little kid was like, you know what I got to lose? Forget it. and then just goes over and does it. And after a moment, the dad realizes like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't say anything, but just like cuddles up with him for a second. And after like 30 minutes later, they didn't say anything. He just acknowledged it after a few minutes, cuddled up on him, and then gets up after the show and says like, hey, weren't you saying that you actually wanted this thing? Like, what was it, a BB gun? Oh, you did? Okay. Okay, well, go get ready for bed, and then I'll see you in the morning. Like, love you, bye. Type of thing. And then so the dad takes off. He gets on a bus. He takes an hour trip to this area, to this store. He gets his BB gun. He comes back in the middle of the night, and then he gives it to his son right in the morning before school, type of thing. And it was just one of those situations that it really spoke like human fathers always, like, you want to give to your kids as much as possible. You want to give them the world, right? But you don't want to spoil them. You also, sometimes there needs to be like a shift of the heart to be able to like a love connection type of thing, to be able to understand it's not just a thing. It's not just like, like not just begging for something all the time, but instead just want that intimacy time, just that connection. And then it's like, dude, of course, man, like I want everything. I want you to become the best version of me, but even better, and take on this legacy even further. And so that human version of it, it's the same thing with like godly version, right? And like God just wants to get closer to us. He just wants to have intimacy with us, just wants to like talk to us, like know about our days, like understand our troubles, and he knows all of it. He knows everything, right? So it's like, but at the same time, you just having that connection. And so this fasting that we did, it was for a week. It was 7 days, as long as I've ever done. I've done 5 and I've done 6 in the past, and I've done 3 several times, or 24 hours. But this one was the longest one. And it was literally only for just getting closer with God, and just like, man, I can't do this right now. Like this stuff with the business, I'm scared. I have 29 employees. We have families that we support and feed. And I know the promises that you've called upon me. And I know the blessings. I stand on our tithers' rights. Like I know what we've been gifting and giving, and I know the impact that you've called me to make on others. And so therefore, like, I'm just declaring in it, and I'm standing in your word, and I know it's not going to come back void. But at the same time, like, I got these fears, I got these concerns, and it's like, I can't take it any longer. So I'm done with it. Like, I can't handle it. I'm giving it to you because you can. And I'm just going to get closer with you and let everything else fall into place. And when we did that, Jen and I both did it for the whole week. It was breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. And it was genuine. It was just incredible. And the breakthroughs are still taking place. Our best month for the last like several months has just taken place. And it's only going to get better. And we dialed in one of my biggest problems that I mentioned just a few moments ago was like my MO in the past was just pour money into the situation, pour money into the problem. That's going to cure it all. But what I come to find out, and that's a visionary thing, like I'm a visionary type of person. So it's like, oh, I got all these ideas. Cool. Well, we got a bunch of credit too. So cool. Let's test it out. Just pump money into it. Like I got money. Let's go. Let's throw it in. We got to get an ROI from it. Well, you would think so, but sometimes you're just stirring the pot. You're just stirring things up crazy, and it's actually going to hurt you versus help you. And so what we learned was that when we dialed in all the data and we looked back and we realized exactly to the month where the numbers and the KPIs started shifting a bunch and how it was struggling. However, we couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was because we looked at all the changes that we made month to month, and we saw that we made a boatload of changes in that month. And the problem with that is we didn't split test. We didn't split test, number one. And we didn't do one change at a time and give it time. Instead, we did a bunch of changes all at once and just pumped money into it. And so it was all inflated. It was all over the place. It was just crazy. We got up to like 80 something thousand in ads, and our goal was to get to 200K in ads per month. And so we had all these excuses or all these reasonings and like shortcomings from it, but it was logical to think about it, but it wasn't accurate. It wasn't the data, and the numbers always tell you the truth. And we had so much data, by the way. And so a couple things that we noticed. Number one, money won't solve all the problems. Money will not solve all the problems. Okay. I learned that quick and the hard way. Number two is when you're making all these changes as a visionary, you're going to want to split test, and you're going to want to do it slow and do it one at a time to give it enough time, 60, 90 days, sometimes just 30 days. Depends on what you're split testing, but you always split test, always split test. If you're making any type of change, you're doing one change at a time, and you're split testing it for a minimum of a couple weeks to see how they perform. And then you could see like, cool, what do we do? Are we good? Can we cancel the one and go all in on this one? And if so, cool. Can we start pumping some money into it? Yes. Okay. Let's do this for a little bit. See how that goes. Okay. Everything's good. Okay. Cool. Now we can test out this other idea. All right. Let's split test. Okay. Let's see how that does. No, it's not doing well. Okay. Let's pull back. You split test everything, and you do one change at a time. You split test everything, and you give it enough time to not just get the results and the data, but then also season it afterwards so that you can actually see how it's going to perform. And that's the best way. And right now we're saving the most money. We are cutting all the BS. We're getting the best results. We're squeezing the juice out of everything, which is incredible. And I love it. And it's just one of those things. It's like dialing this in is starting to get me really excited, which brings me to the third. It's like paying attention to the proper KPIs. Like I said, we had a boatload of KPIs. I could go circles and circles. I actually had a couple of mentors of mine tell me that recently. Anik, he ended up saying like, honestly, dude, I have helped out a lot of people, and this is only the second time that I've ever seen it. You guys have too much data. It's hard to make a good, clear decision because you have too much data. So pay attention to the KPIs at a leadership, especially if you're the CEO. If you're the CEO of your company or COO or like high level leadership, you look at the leadership KPIs, and it should just be a handful, maybe about a dozen or less. Okay. Look at EOS standard. Their models should be about 7 to about a dozen max. Okay. We had like 70 something. Too many. And that was at the leadership level, which broke down into all the other departments even more. Crazy. And so you look at the dozen, if you will, give or take, leadership level KPIs. And if something starts showing that it's off, then you dive a little bit deeper into that marketing department, their KPIs, and see on a deeper level why is this one off over here at the leadership. Let's take a look at that department and see why, where it's coming from. Okay. And so that should help bring some clarity, and I'm excited. I don't have that fully dialed in yet, just full transparency, but we have the KPIs everywhere. I just don't spend enough time and energy into it, but I need to. It's one of my things that I am really looking forward to dialing in. I know that my team members, all of my leadership team, they are though. And we are seeing it. We're seeing it dialed in. And so having that moment and us all growing together and scaling from it, and just kind of all hands on deck. We had a state of emergency within our company last month. And because I was in fear mode, I was scaring the shit out of everybody. Full transparency, as a leader, when you're scaring people and saying, hey, we may have a month or two left, we may have to let some people go. What? What? Why? Especially I've been casting the vision for them to be all about it. And now they're like, I don't want to go. Well, I didn't realize we were in that situation. I didn't either. I just found out something's got to give. We need all hands on deck. We need full time and attention to make this, to turn it around. And in those circumstances, it's not fun. Let me tell you. And I did a poor job of being a leader in those circumstances. Fully admit it. However, I'm grateful for the opportunity for learning from those things and getting past the fear. Fear comes from the lack of education. And I just felt lost at that time. I was like, I don't know what to do. And luckily I had mentors that called me out on it, of they things that they didn't know because I didn't know and I didn't share with them. And, we had all these reasons and excuse for things. But once I actually showed them the KPIs and once I had God like speak to me about these things, I showed it to them, my mentors, they started giving me the wisdom of like, okay, all hands on deck. This is what we need to do. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what mentors are about, like saving me the time, the energy, the efforts, and, getting on calls if I need it, but whatever it takes to be able to keep things afloat and start rocking and rolling on things. And so just grateful for those opportunities, grateful for the leaders that I have in my life. And I just couldn't be more grateful at the end of the day. But it's also like, be careful what you ask for. If you're asking for growth, if you're asking for, doubling or tripling or 10xing your company, understand this, that there are consequences with that. Not consequences, not in a negative way, but like, are you going to be able to handle it? Because the stretching sometimes, the fear, the pain, all these things, like, are you spending enough time with God to be able to cancel out all these negative things and have that supernatural strength within to be able to handle all these things and have God pouring into you on how to pivot? Because it will be your first time going through these seasons and in this area of life. And so how you deal with it is how you deal with it and how you actually grow from this, or how you stall out, and it could be devastating. So hope I pray that it actually hits you with motivation and not like a Debbie Downer type of thing. But yeah, that's just full transparency. As always, I'm a very blunt person, but that's how life was for me last month. And it's a whole new season for me now. And I couldn't be more grateful, couldn't be more excited. In fact, we just we bought our new home at the end. Okay, long story short, that dream home, we ended up getting out of escrow at the end of November because I had like 3% in earnest money deposits. It was a lot of money. It was like 170 something thousand. And so because the sellers kept on extending it, we were like, okay, well, can I get some of my money back so I can put it to work in other places? Because I don't like having 170 grand tied up anywhere. But so we got 2% back. It was about 100K, something like that. And then we still had 50 something in 1% in 57K in escrow. And so right when we got the first 2% back, Jen and I just started looking, you know what, why stress over trying to figure out these numbers and try to, like, if the business isn't doing well the last couple months, last 6 months, then it's like, maybe we should look for something else. And then this is what we found. We found a incredible home, more than enough for little old me and her. Super big, hit all the buy boxes, something that we can grow into with kids, something that we can afford like easily. And, the earnest money alone, we were basically able to get all that money back and use it for the down payment. And so we were able to get away with just a 10% to close, down, and affordable rates, great, traditional lending, no insurance or mortgage insurance or anything, even though it's less than 20%. Yeah, and we're doing like a full renovation on it to customize exactly how we want it, how we can live into it. And it's just going to be incredible. And so we couldn't be more grateful. All the buying boxes, like boom, boom, boom. And just God's so good in so many ways. And it's something that it's like, it's not going to be like that bigger home, 5.7. It was just huge. And there was a bunch of little things that were wrong, and maintenance and everything. It's just like, man, it just adds up so much. And so you got to realize, there's like two, I forget what it's called, like basically trees that need to be removed that were like dying out, but they were like going to be like 20 grand to replace, like just wild stuff. And it's like, when you get to that big, all these things, it just adds up. And so couldn't be more grateful for this property because we're making it exactly how we want. It's brand new. It's a beautiful home, but it's 2001 built, but incredible home. Hits all of our buy boxes, something we're going to make exactly to our touch. We've done it for so many other people with fix and flips in the past and so forth. We're doing it for us this time and couldn't be more grateful. So anyway, with the updates on that, we usually have our main crew doing the construction. The quote came back higher than I'd like. Also delayed like a week or two because they were finishing up other projects. So I ended up finding some other outsourced things, saved a ton by outsourcing and kind of GCing originally myself. So saving a boatload on kitchen cabinets, countertops, demo, painting, electrical, HVAC. It's all the things. And then now I have my crew in there and they're doing all the bathroom work. There's 3 bathrooms. So doing all new tiling and so forth. And then they'll be doing some things in the garage as well as the stairs, and everything's dialed in. Couldn't be more excited, grateful for it. And yeah, so now at this point, we're just looking, we're looking for another couple quotes for the stairs as well as pool. And then there are some water solar on top. So those are the 3 things we got to work on right now. Everything else is glorious. We also need security system because there's wired in ones that we're replacing, and then home sound system stuff. But cool stuff. Couldn't be more grateful, blessed to be a blessing and have this opportunity, and a huge office area as well. So all fun, amazing things. Praying that we can get in there quickly by the end of February. So we will see. We have all the goodies all at the property right now, and people working their butts off to get it done and make it happen. So we're super stoked on it. But let me talk to you about the last piece here, and then we'll call it a day, and you guys stay blessed for the rest of the week. Credit Counsel Elite, we have our live summit. It's our Credit Counsel Elite live summit here in San Diego, beautiful San Diego, California, this April 3rd and 4th. So April 3rd and 4th, you're going to want to get your tickets to that. It's the very first time we're opening it up to the general public. Okay, this is an opportunity for you to get a taste of what the heck we're doing here at Credit Counsel Elite, exactly how you can capitalize off of it and how you can get massive amounts of funding to be able to really take down more territory. We have a badass speaker lineup. We have Nick Perry, which is an amazing wholesaler. He's generating millions upon millions of dollars within his business and traveling the world with his beautiful wife. We got people that Steven Diaz, he's been on Forbes like top 5,000 at 148. I think he got an award for the most like growing business. Just incredible people. We have people that have been there and done it and doing wild things within the business space, and couldn't be more excited. We're having it right here in a beautiful location. It's going to be incredible weather. It's going to be great food. It's going to be like wild networking. And we've always put on a badass event, and I couldn't be more grateful for every single person that's going to show up, participate, take action. So right now until the end of February, you're going to be able to get a early bird discount hotel, number 1, but number 2, also be able to get your tickets. Okay, so for the general admission, it's going to be just only $497 to be able to be a part of that. Otherwise, for the VIP ticket, we're only doing it for $997, and literally it costs me more than that for each person, just so you know. Okay, we have a badass lineup, amazing knowledge. We will be talking about credit. We will be talking about business. We will be talking about real estate and so much more. And we have some private dinners, like all these crazy things I'm just stoked for. And so with that being said, we've had people do business deals within our groups, get married, get engaged, and just wild stuff. So I couldn't be more grateful for it. We've raised money in the past for incredible nonprofits that we believed in and supported as well. But this one's going to be for the records. So April 3rd and 4th, you're going to want to be there for sure. If you've been watching us for a long time or on the sidelines, this is for you. Take a peek at it. I'm setting it up for you so that you could see this. And with that being said, afterwards, I would just love for you to take a look at Credit Counsel Elite. And if it's a good fit, we could bless you in the future, then it's a no-brainer. These discounted seats are literally just until the end of February. After that, prices go up. And we're looking to have about, a good amount of people there. So it's about 100 people that's going to be dived into it. And so I couldn't be more stoked for it. If you have any questions behind that, simply just go to, it should be in the show notes here. You can take a look and be able to get your seats on that. Otherwise, you can just DM us on social media, or it should be in my social media bio. But check out, follow me first off. If you're not, that'd be silly. But go to Instagram, and it's Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram, or on Instagram, it's going to be Brandon Elliott Investments. And feel free to just DM me on there and we'll be able to get you that information. Just ask about the Credit Counsel Elite event. It's a summit here in San Diego, April 3rd and 4th. So that's that. That was the news that I want to bring to you guys. We're literally doing this each and every day. We're showing you how to get up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0% and how you can do this every 6 months per person. It could be life-changing in so many ways. So I just pray that you actually take action on it and meet us halfway with it, and we'll drag you the other way. Trust me. Like, we have incredible results. We have incredible testimonies, and we have business bank relationship managers that actually work with you to help you with your applications as well with some of them. And so it can be life-changing for so many that actually take action on it. So check out our website at creditcounselelite.com. It's www.creditcounselelite.com. And there's a quick 5-minute video on there that explains more, but would love to sit down with you and just jump on a quick call, either myself or somebody on our team, to just understand where you're currently at, where you're looking to go, and see if we can give you a roadmap to help you get there. Okay. And to respect your time, we'll give you a list of 10 banks that you've probably never heard of ever to be able to get up to $50,000 each from those banks. That adds up to $500K right there that you can get massive amounts of funding to be able to bless you. So anyway, love you guys all so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Like, I don't know what I got to do here to juggle or what, but you're going to want to do that. So hit the subscribe button, get the newest notification every single Monday when the new episode drops, leave that 5-star review, share the love, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until next time, guys, God bless. Peace out.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.